What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another episode of The Daily Grind. I'm your host, GamingIndustry, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Fable 4 delayed into 2027, and we all know why. That's not me saying that. That's what the actual article says. It's from PC Gamer, so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about Forbes. Paul Tassi talks about Sony is wrong to take Destiny 2 support down to absolute zero, so we'll talk about that as well. And then we're also going to talk about I think it's from, what is this outlet? The Outside Scoop, which is Star Wars collapsed, box office endures. We'll talk about that as well. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? Let me see who's all here. What's going on, Ward? Stealths, good morning. Aku, Water Bear, Eclipse, Just Enough, Altern, Jason, good morning. Who am I missing? Wonder Rose, Shadow, good morning. Travis, good morning. I'm looking. Anybody else that I missed? If I missed you, I'm sorry. And we'll see you if you chat again. Mr. Luke, good morning. Mr. Z, good morning. Astrif, good morning. All right. Did you guys have a good weekend? We're already in the 6th month of this year. 6th month already, right? We're in June. Like, where the hell did this year go? Didn't we just have New Year's? I remember just New Year's happening, and now all of a sudden, here we are. It's June 1st. Just a little bit of housekeeping here. Just to let you guys know, we do have a show today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. There is no morning show on Thursday. There is no podcast on Thursday in the evening for Generation X Gaming. I will be traveling Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then we'll be back on Tuesday. So there will be no show the following Monday. So this time next week, there will not be a morning show at all. So no daily grind on Thursday and no daily grind on Monday. Taking our summer vacation that we usually take. It just so happens to coincide with all of Summer Game Fest, which was poorly planned. I didn't even think about it, and we booked the trip. So I won't be watching any of this stuff on stream live, but I will be watching it. I will be watching it or following it, just like you guys. But yeah, I will not be watching the Xbox event, PlayStation event, Summer Game Fest, PC Game Show, none of that. We will not be covering any of it, which is fine because I guess, I don't get any, takedowns this year. So, all right. There, we got that out of the way. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Water Bear says Fable is adding create a player feature. I wonder why. Well, no, they already had that. They already had the create. That's why they delayed it the first time. They delayed it the first time so you can create a character. We talked about this. We talked about this like months and months ago, back in January. Shadow says Fable is garbage character, looks trans, which is, of course, they do on purpose. Well, you could create the character. We've already had this conversation, guys. There was no character creator, right? We all agreed on that. That's why they were pushing that, as Shadow was saying, right? As they were pushing that. Here's the character. Here's the character. But then they delayed it. Remember that's delayed. And then when they first showed it again, actual gameplay, they showed a character creator where you can create stuff. But then we noticed something else. We're like, it seems like they just tossed it in there. And we're like, well, I hope it comes out because they never actually gave a date. We actually said we hope they actually get it out before Grand Theft Auto. And then, obviously, it hasn't. No date. And all of a sudden, now it's delayed. Let's talk about it, shall we? All right, let's talk about it. Fable 4 is delayed into 2027, and we all know why. PC Gamer says, Microsoft says 2026 is packed with new games, including one in particular. Now, let's be honest here. We've been talking about that. You know what? I'm pretty sure we talked about this. Pretty sure we talked about this. All right. When did we talk about it? We had a live show Actually, you know what? I think we made a video back in April. Yeah. It was actually called Fable Delayed, and we didn't know if it was delayed or not. All right. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Xbox shoots down Fable delay rumors. Wait a minute. They said it wasn't going to be delayed. They said it wasn't going to be delayed because of GTA 6. They said this. It was in an article we covered. When did we cover this? April 14th. We covered it April 14th. Been some viral rumblings, okay, that the Xbox Fable is the biggest game of the year and potentially a couple of years, was internal delay and seemed more likely to come out. They denied it. They said, no, it's not internal delays. No internal delays. We're not delaying it because of Grand Theft Auto in 2027 rather than the promised fall of 2026 release window. Now, we actually talked about this way before the rumors and everything happened because we did younger, more attractive 30. We didn't know when Fable. Actually, I'll take that back. I don't know if he's definitely younger. I don't know if he's more attractive, but before they showed it the last time and showed you there was character creation and stuff like that, we were like, when is this game coming out? Because remember, Grand Theft Auto was supposed to come out in November last year. Then they pushed it to May of this year, and then it got pushed back from May again back to November. And we're gonna have another video of me talking about this video. So it'll be me in a screen of me in a screen of me. Like, okay, well, when's Fable coming out? If Fable comes out during the spring, cool. If it comes out during the summer, cool. But if it gets delayed more and more and gets pushed to the end of the year, they're going to have a problem, right? They're going to have a problem. It says, well, it appears that those behind the game and Microsoft itself want to erase that story. And they did so simply by having the official Fable account reply on the exciting fans, reiterating that the release window. What do you mean? That's unwhite balanced. Look, you want to see tanned? Look, I can tell you. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Look at the skin tone difference there. Right? You see the difference? I tan. So unless I suppose social disconnected from what's going on internally, which would be reached. Okay. It says if that holds, Fable will now have a dance around a GTA 6 release date on November, which was happening, right? They made the fixes that they had to make. They started approaching in on when is this game going to be done? They went, well, on this trajectory, again, this is all my speculation, by the way, by the trajectory of them working on the actual game, when is it going to be done? They went, well, the earliest they could be done is end of September, October. They went, no, let's keep it in the oven and keep working on it because Grand Theft Auto is coming out. But we talked about this on 19th. Putting the game out early would mean less time for polish. Putting the game out a little later would mean that getting eclipsed by Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, we've talked about this for years. No matter what game you have, okay, let's just take this out for the equation for a second. If Fable pushes back to October, November, right, you still have Call of Duty. Regardless if you think Call of Duty is bad or not, right, that takes a big chunk. If the average person only buys 2 games a year, right, the average person only buys 2 games a year. Let's say they haven't bought a game yet, okay? They're buying Call of Duty, and whatever other game they were going to buy, let's say it was Fable, is now going to get dwarfed because now they want Grand Theft Auto. That's right. People, that is right, younger 30. You are correct. Move their game schedule away from Grand Theft Auto, not by like a week or two, right? They push it months away because when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, again, last one came out 13 years ago, okay? And if this game does release in November, like they say they're going to release, any game within the 3 weeks before and 4 or 5 months after are going to have problems selling because the people are going to play Grand Theft Auto and they're going to play Grand Theft Auto. And if they're done with the single player story and then all of a sudden the online kicks in, so you have GTA Online, the new version, holy Christ, right? It's going to dwarf anything that comes out. So it says putting the game out early would also mean that. Yeah, much cooler Calm and Collect than me today, Altern. Okay, so putting the game out, that beard looks rough though. I don't know. After this feels like it could wipe it off the map entirely, 100%, as no doubt most players will be going hard on that game through Christmas and beyond. The tough situation is why many, though, as it was, just because Pearl Abyss, Black Desert, $1 or more on Fable. This has to be, world is not really a super open world.
was.
Here, hold on.
Just because
we
right
make
there.
a statement.
Because
We make a statement about. I'm going to read the article. We're just going back to what our video was in April. Okay, we talk about Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert came out. Okay, now remember we saw gameplay of Fable, then Crimson Desert came out and made open world game, and you were like, "Holy Christ, this is crazy!" Right? And you're like, you could do so many things in Crimson Desert. Now I'm not saying Fable's delaying because of Crimson Desert, but I am saying Crimson Desert, in my opinion, they saw what they did with that open world. And they went, holy Christ, right? Holy Christ, right? And they're like, we got to do something. Our open world is not as open as that. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go back and change, but they have to get it out of. You got Crimson Desert and Grand Theft Auto both coming out. Roadkill, what are you talking about? We literally talk about it. This is fantastic. This is fantastic, Roadkill. I am watching a video of myself in April 14 talking about Fable being delayed. And you're telling me I made a bet with you about it's coming out this year? Interesting. Crimson Desert. I don't think a lot of people thought Crimson Desert was going to be as big as it was, just because Pearl Abyss, Black Desert Online, microtransactions, live service, all that stuff. But now that Crimson Desert has made the world that they've made, right? And I know a lot of people right now are like, right, they hate Crimson Desert. It hurt them as a child. Crimson Desert has changed the format, right? If Fable came out before Crimson Desert, I think it would have a better shot because that world is not really a super open world. I mean, it is open world. I love the Fable series, by the way. But I don't think Fable's going to come anywhere close to the open world feeling of what Crimson Desert. Now, is it fair of a comparison? No, it's not a fair comparison because I even said this a couple days ago. I'm going personally to compare Fable to Fable, right? As long as Fable hits the bar of the other Fables and then makes it a little bit better than the... Is it 13 years of Fable being, Sarge? I think they've been working on this game for, what, 7 years? I think they've been working on this Fable for 7 years. But who would have thought this game would have been delayed twice now from a company that never worked on a game like this before and only made car games? I don't know. Who could have seen this? Other Fables? Then I think it's a success. But again, I'm not the one paying all the bills for Fable for Microsoft, right? So this has to be a big hit, right? They probably spent $200 million, $250 million or more on Fable. This has to be a hit. It's going to be compared to all these other open world games. If it is Skyrim, if it's the past Fables, if it is Crimson Desert, if it is Grand Theft Auto, if it is Red Dead Redemption, they will be compared to these games. Is it fair? No, but that's just the way it is. Okay? It says the enormous open world fantasy game, the debut with middling reviews, but also... All right. Let's go from that back to what the delay is here. Fable 4 is delayed into 2027, and we all know why, right? We all think we know why, which would be Grand Theft Auto. Just over a month after denying a rumor that Fable would also be delayed till 2027 to avoid Grand Theft Auto 6 behemoth, Fable has been delayed to 2027 because the year is packed with incredible games, one of which just happens to be Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, just saying that, right? Just saying that the year is packed with incredible games, and one of them is Grand Theft Auto 6, meaning, is Fable not one of those incredible games that they were working on? Probably not. Packed is maybe overstating it a bit. It says, based on this list rolled out official Xbox account on X, including Halo Campaign Evolved, Gears of War E-Day, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, Control Resident, Star Wars Galactic Racer, and finally, Grand Theft Auto 6. Modern Warfare 4 is going to suck up some of the oxygen for sure. Isn't it crazy how just a month and a half ago, I literally said that in my other video, that if people buy 2 games a year, and one of them's Call of Duty, the other one, what do you think is going to be? If they only buy 2 and there's Fable, and there's GTA, and there's Call of Duty, 2 of the 3 have to be purchased. Well, guess what? Sorry, there's not room for other ones, right? All of these other games should be delayed too. Right? Campaign Evolved, Gears of War E-Day, Call of Duty. And finally, Grand Theft Auto 6 Modern Warfare 4 is going to suck up all the oxygen, sure. But overall, I feel like this list games feels and leaves room for the big name releases like Fable, except for one of them, I suppose. Right? It says Xbox this year is packed with incredible games for Xbox players to enjoy, from Halo Campaign Involved. First of all, if I'm a Xbox owner, why do I care about another Halo game that's going to be on Game Pass that I've already played, right? Gears of War E-Day, obviously, it's a new one. We still don't have a date for that. Call of Duty Modern Warfare is just yet another Call of Duty game that comes out. And to control Resident, okay? And then we have Star Wars Galactic Racer and Grand Theft Auto 6. In order to plan our game launches through the holidays in a way that works best for players, we're moving Fable to February 2027 so we can have a dedicated moment it deserves. We're excited to be giving players a major new look at Fable, as well as our broader lineup at the Xbox Game Showcase on June 7th. So let me get this straight. The game is done. Xbox is doing you and I a favor. The game is done, right? They just want to give it its own breathing room because the game is done, right? It doesn't need... If it's done, come on out. Come on out. Drop it on June. Game shows this weekend. Drop it. Say, hey, Fable's coming out. Nope. They're like, no. We've got to push it back. We've got to... we want to give it its own landscape. That's because it's not done. That's because they're working on stuff behind the scenes with it because there's something not right about it. It's been working on for 7 years. But again, this is the company that's never worked on them before. Right? Nothing against, no shade against, Playground Games. They've done Forza Horizon 6 and 5 and all the other car games. They've never worked on a game like this before. Right? They've gotten help from other people as well. It says, in order to plan our game launch through the holidays, moving Fable to 2027, so it can have a dedicated moment it deserves. Let me tell you something. It better come out in perfect condition. There better not be one freaking problem with Fable when it comes out in February 2027. Because if they're giving it its own runway, so nothing else is around it, God forbid nothing else gets announced or moved, you know what would be really hilarious? Oh, man, this would be phenomenal if Grand Theft Auto delays from November and comes out in February. Please let it happen. Oh my God, that would be so hilarious. Please, the gaming gods up there, let it happen. Grand Theft Auto's like, you know what? It's too packed. We need to move Grand Theft Auto out of this year so we can market conditions and move it into 2027. There's just too many games. I mean, they said themselves, look, how can you put Grand Theft Auto up against Minecraft Dungeons 2 and Halo Campaign Evolved Remake and Gears of War E-Day and Modern Warfare? I mean, you got to move Fable and Grand Theft Auto out to 2027. Oh, man, that would be... Please let it happen. It says, while we don't have a solid new release date at this point, February 2027 target is at least a little more precise than the previous launch window, which was fall of 2026. I mean, that's another thing, right? They never really said when the date was. There was no hard date so they can delay it, right? I don't know how you delay something when you don't actually have a date originally. Will actually arrive in February. Maybe even probably. But given that we've also been talking about Fable 4, as we also know in those days, since at least 2019, which all full-on decade after release of Fable 3, I'm going to mark my calendar and pencil in just in case. I'm not. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Fable. Okay, because they didn't have a hard date. Hell, and even if they have hard dates, looking at you, Todd, with Starfield, right? 11/11, what was it, 11/11/2022 or 2023, whatever it was, and then they pushed it back. Oh, no, it was 2022, and then it pushed it back to 2023. It doesn't matter what they say, okay? Hell, even Grand Theft Auto, only because Strauss Zelnick went on an interview and said Grand Theft Auto is coming out November 19th. Other than that, there was a chance that it was actually going to maybe get pushed back even again, right? Microsoft, regardless of what's happening, they better make sure that this game comes out not like Redfall, okay? Not like Avowed. It needs to come out, and I liked Avowed, by the way, okay? It needs to come out perfect. If it doesn't come out perfect, especially now that it's done, and they're only pushing it back not to polish it up or anything like that, they're pushing it back because they want it to have its own, what was the dedicated released area, right? Is what they want, right? A dedicated moment it deserves. Okay, that's the reason. Not because of polish, not because of anything else. It needs to have the dedicated moment it deserves, meaning The game's pretty good, right? It's done. It's complete. There's no problems with it. And they're just going to put it on the shelf. They're like, we're done. They just put that up on the shelf. They're putting it up on the shelf. And then February comes out. They're like, get the dust off. They're like, here you go. Here is Fable, the next Fable. And let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think Fable, because of what it was before, where it was a dedicated character, was no character creation, because they constantly, the promotion material, the people that wrote the articles, the companies came out, they said you hated the actress, and the actress was, we didn't hate the actress. They actually made the actress worse. She's actually looked pretty goddamn cute in real life, right? But in the game, they made her awful looking, okay? And everyone's like, yeah, this is bad. Then all of a sudden, they went completely quiet with Fable. And then they showed the gameplay footage of it, and then they showed you that there's a character creation, and you can make it male or female, which they could have said ahead of time. They would have been like, no, that's not the main character. You can make your own character. That's what they could have said. They never said that. Then they showed you the character creator, but then as they showed you, they showed the male character as he was walking very feminine. Meaning, again, just speculation, that they implemented the character creation after the fact and then made it where it was very feminine looking. And they went, wait a minute, that's not it. So they had to go back now and fix all the things that maybe they put into the game when all that other stuff was going on during the development time. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe none of it will surface. Maybe it'll all surface. Time will tell. Again, these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think Fable hits that February deadline, or do you think it gets pushed back even further to maybe next summer? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some other videos. Thanks for watching. All right. Sarge says, are we still playing the stupid mental game where you don't know when your game is done? Oh, no, they know it's done. It's done. It's just not coming out this year because it needs a dedicated area. Eclipse says, he said it's coming out on the financial reports. Kyle says, I believe in Playground Games. I believe that Playground Games makes good games. I don't know if they make a good action-adventure game. It's a completely different game than I've ever created before. Maybe it comes out, it just smashes out of the park. Maybe. Now, Playground Games has smashed Forza Horizon 6 out of the park because that's what they do. They make car games. But we'll see. Altart says, dedicated moment it deserves. Talk about stupid excuses. Ray says, remember, Cyberpunk only needed polish. Yeah, and then it came out. It was polished, right? It was a polished turd. Mo says they'll still keep polishing GTA. We'll eat their lunch. Water says, so question. If they're only pushing it back to avoid GTA, did they give us an early release date for 2027? They just want February. There's a lot of stuff in February that comes out, and they feel like that's the moment. But here's a great thing. Like, there's other games that can get pushed back, and they have this dedicated moment for Fable. I think they're really just talking about it like dedicated for Xbox games, not in the industry, because something can come out in February and just take the wind out of the sail. Bear says also, I think GTA excuse is just that. Like I said before, the biggest Fable was Fable 2, and it sold only 5 million copies. Here's the problem. Do you come out, real question, do you come out early, and if it is a little broke, buggy, and unfinished, and do you fix it over time to get the sales, or do you come behind GTA, and GTA comes out, and it comes out in November, so you got November, December, January, February. Is 4 months long enough to get away from Grand Theft Auto? I don't think so. I don't think so, because I believe that Grand Theft Auto not only will have Grand Theft Auto Online, but by that time they'll be updated like 2 or 3 times in the online verse. and people just keep coming back and playing that. I don't know, man. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens after Grand Theft Auto. I mean, if Grand Theft Auto releases on November 19th, that's 3.5 months, 3.5 months for them to get Fable in order. So when it comes out, it's in perfect condition. Mr. Z says, no way in hell they have the game that has a full reaction to your character figure out for a female/male choice. No way in hell they have the game that has a full reaction. I'm confused, Z. Are you saying there's no way in hell they're going to have that ready by the time the game comes out? Because they did have that in the video that they showed back in January. Shadow says dedicated moment equals afraid of GTA 6. I think the only reason they're afraid of GTA 6 is because the game's not complete. And when the game is complete, it's going to be done around when Grand Theft Auto comes out. So the release, well, I should say before, but release time would be when Grand Theft Auto comes out, right? So you are correct that they're afraid of Grand Theft Auto, but I think they're also afraid that they can't hit the deadline. And when the deadline comes, it's going to be at that time. So they're like, we'll just give ourselves an extra 3.5 months, 4 months. I mean, is Forza Horizon 6 a car action/adventure open world game? I mean, it's an open world game with cars. I wouldn't really say it's an action-adventure game. Altern says, what if GTA delays the game till February? What happens to Fable? Well, they're going to have more dedicated area. They're going to have to move it to summertime. Or they just bite the bullet then, right? Kylo says it is. But since the studio has only done car games, I can only see the team being passionate and happy on working on something else that would also smash it out of the park. But yes, time will tell. I love the positivity, Kylo, but there's been other companies in the past as well that were really good at the game that they made, and then they went to go make something else, and it completely didn't work out for them. Then there's people that were dedicated making games that they didn't know what they were doing. Right? There has been issues behind the scenes. I know a lot of people don't remember the reports, but Playground was struggling with it. Hence why it's been in development for 7 years. Ray says this Fable will be multi-platform, so it can get 8 million at least. Here's the thing. A lot of people are talking about, because it's getting delayed now, and because Xbox is changing their plan, do they still release it day and date on PlayStation? Or is the plan until it's not the plan, and the plan is not to put it on PlayStation at launch now? So it says, if your game can only sell well because there are no other games for sale, then your game is not done well. There is no perfect spot for a game to sell. The game is good, it will fucking sell. Agreed. Mr. G says, yes, ready. My bad. Oh, you're saying that because they showed it, it wasn't ready. I don't know, man. I don't really think that's a big fix. Unless it wasn't in the game at all and they had to go from scratch, which then I guess it would be. Jesse Max says 30, even COD, Modern Warfare 4 coming out in October. Even they are scared of GTA 6. And everyone is running scared this year. I know it came out in November this year, but doesn't Call of Duty usually come out in October? Doesn't usually come out in October? Let's see. Call of Duty franchise spans over 2 decades, launching the first titles in 2003. Okay, largely release schedule, evolving the schedule. No. I need months. Is there months? That's the years. Okay, so Call of Duty released in October 29th, right? October October, November, 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 November. Yeah, so they pushed it back up. Every game has come out the first week of November. It was the end of October, and then it stuck, and then they went to October in 2018, October in 2019, back to November, October in 2022, November in 2023, October in 2024. So it's not really, they're not really scared. They're just doing the exact same thing they've always done, right? End of October, beginning of November is when they release the Call of Duty all the time. From the beginning of time to now. Kyle says, I agree with you, Sarge, but no chance I'm releasing my game near GTA 6. Imagine if Crimson Desert makes the marriage update that Fable will have different. Can you imagine? Here's the thing. They're talking about an actual expansion and stuff for Crimson Desert. If that releases next year when Fable comes out, Fable will lose the Crimson Desert's expansion. They will lose the Crimson Desert's expansion. Shadow says, I guess all these companies just want to be able to blame GTA if it fails. It feels like GTA is we need GTA to come out at $100. We need GTA to come out so the consoles sell. We need GTA 6 to whatever else. We got to move because of GTA, right? GTA is a lot of causes for a lot of things, aren't they? Mo says, I wouldn't put it in PlayStation at all, but that's just me. Well, maybe that's what they're doing now. Mo, the plan was the plan until it's not the plan, and maybe they're changing their ways. Who knows? Ray says, I'm kind of sad because my Game Pass sub is ending in 4 to 5 months, so I'll wait for the game to drop at $20. Wait, you talking about... Oh, wait a minute. Are you talking about Fable? You're waiting for Fable to come out and then pay $20? Is that what you're saying, Ray? So you wanted to play, obviously, you wanted to play Fable on Game Pass, but your thing ends, and you're not willing to pay the full price of Fable. So you're going to wait till it goes down to 20. So you're waiting like another 2-3 years. I'm not making fun of you in any way, shape, or form. Just make that clear. I'm just trying to figure it out. You're going to play a Game Pass, and then you're like, you know what? I'm going to wait till it goes on sale. I say Xbox should go all in on multi-plat, right? Now because nobody is buying consoles for the next 2 years. No annual release for COD games in this November. Yeah, but they always do the last week of October, first week of November. That's what I'm saying, Jesse. Right? The entire existence of Call of Duty has always been end of October, beginning of November. That's what I'm saying. GTA 6 is gaming in its entirety. 30. Crimson Desert has a Star Wars reference saying in the game. Mo says GTA just needs to come out and tired of this shit, damn it. You know, what's going to happen after? What's going to happen after GTA 6 comes out? Shadow says just release your game. If people want it bad enough, they will buy it either way. That's exactly right. That's what Sarge was saying earlier, right? Where there is no good, like, perfect moment of when you're supposed to release the game. Could it get seen more? Sure. Now, Grand Theft Auto is that tidal wave coming off the shore, and everyone's trying to, run inland for it. But if your game's going to sell, it's going to sell because people are interested in it, right? And I'm not putting words into Ray's mouth. I asked a question, but let me just take what Ray said, right? Where his Game Pass is ending. He would have played Fable on Game Pass. But now because his Game Pass is ending, right? And now Fable comes out in February. He's like, he's interested in it, but he's not interested in it at the full price. Now, we don't know if the full price is 70, 80, 50. Have no idea, right? I'm assuming it's a $70 game, maybe an $80 game. And I don't think that's a problem. I don't think that's a problem with Ray not buying the game at full price. James Bond is $70. I don't think it's $70, right? Me saying it's not worth $70 doesn't mean it's a bad game. I do think the stealth is bad. But for $70, I'm like, nah, I'm not buying that game for $70. Max 50. Max 50, right? But I'll probably pick that game up when it's like 30, 25, $30. Because now game prices are becoming too expensive, right? Grand Theft Auto. I'm at the point right now. I don't even know if I'm going to get Grand Theft Auto when it comes out. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, right? I don't even know if I'm going to get Grand Theft Auto when it comes out right away. Mr. D says GTA 6 is a psyop. It's like Mind's Eye. They're just creating videos to fuck with everyone. Saints says unless you're a Saints Row or something, your game should still sell. Ray says, no, I'm not giving Microsoft sub money until I know that they also care about the player base. I have huge backlog and still haven't bought the Crimson Desert. Fable makes me wait. I'll make the Fable wait for me. That's what you should do, Ray. That's exactly what you should do. You don't need to buy a brand new game, right? You don't need to buy a brand new game, right? That's exactly what it is. You waited. When was the last Fable came out, right? Last Fable came out over a decade ago. You're like, I'll just wait. Mo says, I'll play it on Game Pass. Warbear says, it's coming on PC day and date, so I'll grab it on PC. Saint says, I'm probably on the bench for GTA as well. Yeah, I it's not even me being like, I'm too cool for Grand Theft Auto. It's just like, as a streamer, especially for my type of channel, there's no point for me to play the story on stream. Zero. Because everyone that's interested in Grand Theft Auto is going to pick it up, and they're not going to watch streams of you playing it. They might watch it after the fact, but that's not where I make my content. So it's like there's no reason to buy it for streaming, right? And then because the way I do stream in the mornings and then I play other games in the evening, there's no reason for me to buy it at all. Because when I play it, now I'll play it offline, right? But I don't need to buy it day one. I could pick it up later. I could pick it up, I don't know, maybe I buy it week one. Maybe I buy it month one. Maybe I buy it 6 months in. There's really no reason for me to buy it because I'm not going to make any content on it as far as the game itself. Now, talking about the game, 100%. 100% I'll talk about the game and what people talk about, what we see and what the company does and how much money it made and stuff like that. So there's no reason for me to actually pick it up and buy it unless it's like a must buy, right? But I can wait for people to play it, see it, and go, all right, I'll pick it up. Feels Good says the GTA 6 trailer didn't look a bit AI generated. Maybe it's because the original creator had nothing to do with it. Perhaps. Jesse Max says Patent Station Showcase is somewhere on Xbox Showcase. Is this Sunday? Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see any of that stuff. We're not streaming any of the... I will not be here this weekend. So I will not be streaming any of the content this weekend. I'm just a normal person on vacation, and I'll look through the news as it happens. Argus says GTA at this point could possibly meet everyone's expectations. The expectations have been so hyperinflated that the hype is going to eventually hurt them rather than help them post-launch. Perhaps, but if that's the case, it'll almost be like a Star Wars situation, Argus, right? Like The Force Awakens came out and people were like, oh my God, it's Star Wars, made $2 billion, right? And then not until after Force Awakens did The Last Jedi, and then it made half the money that the first movie made, and then the next movie made half of what that second movie made. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the hype is so there, but they're going to make the money for Grand Theft Auto 6, and then the hype will die after they paid for Grand Theft Auto 6. So, like, the next thing that Rockstar makes, if they make anything at all, will be like, eh. But that's not really going to... be a problem because they're going to make all the $1 billion back for their game. There's no way. I never say never, but there's no way in my mind that Grand Theft Auto 6 is not successful and makes all its money back within the first week. I say before pre-orders. It'll make all its money back in pre-orders. Water says T-minus 5 months and 18 days until the streets look like COVID times because everyone is playing GTA 6. Mr. Luke says, I got GTA 5 years later. Arga says GTA lost me as a franchise when GTA Online microtransactions became the focus. You streaming the State of Play tomorrow. What time is that at, Mo? What time is the State of Play tomorrow? Is it June 2nd or something? Mr. G says, look for the 2026 30 NSG video wearing sunglasses from a cozy porch swing. That's right. Shadow says they don't even need to make anything with GTA Online. Cash flowing in. Argus says that's true. They will get a lot of upfront sales, and the real pain in the ass is going to be all the complaints after them that have to make the endless amount of changes to appease the complainers. Rockstar's never been one to do that. I mean, online, yes, but the actual game itself. State of play, not play. State of pay, not play. What time is that at? Ron says $900 to play GTA 6 on PlayStation 5 Pro, not counting how much the game is. Is it worth it? That's for each individual to figure out, Ron. I don't think it's worth it, but hey, 5 p.m., we'll probably just cover it the next day. We'll probably just cover it on Wednesday. All right. Let's go to the second story, which is Destiny / Marathon / Sony. Okay. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Right? So Sony is wrong to take down Destiny 2 support down to absolute zero. Now, obviously, it's interesting seeing the entire community. And again, I'm removing myself because I was a big Destiny guy early on, up until about 2018, and then I lost it completely. And then I came back and dabbled in 2019 and 2020, and then I stopped, right? We went back, like, I don't know, Christmas time, went back to Destiny 1 just to get the feelings and stuff. But I'm done, right? So I'm an outsider, right? I'm an outsider looking in at all of this, and I think it's very entertaining, I have to admit. Not as entertaining if you guys haven't watched. Have you guys been following, real quick, have you guys been following the Lego story that's happening right now on the internet with what's it called, bricks and minifigs? Have you guys heard about the story? If you haven't, you got to go watch the videos. They're all over the place now. It's some of the best content you'll ever see. It's absolutely insane what is happening with a content creator, okay, and bricks and minifigs trying to get someone's Legos back from 2 years ago. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. I will put a link in Discord if you guys haven't seen it. There's people reacting to it now. I'm not gonna touch it. Okay. But showing stuff. Like, I'm not gonna react to the video because bricks and minifigs is suing people. They're taking down people's channels and stuff like that. So I ain't touching that. Okay. But it's some of the best goddamn content you'll see on YouTube. I think the guy's name is Ben. Is it Addict Ben or Ben Addict or something like that? Like, holy Christ. The amount of proof this man has about the stuff that's going on, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Not as amazing. Actually, it's more amazing than this, but this is also entertaining, right? The Bungie story, because the community is split, right? You got Destiny guys eating other Destiny guys, talking shit about other Destiny people and the community, and then one part of the community is like rallying around what's happening on June 9th, and they're all going to be playing the game together, and then other people are like, I hope Marathon eats it and it shits the bed, and then Marathon people are not. Like, there's a lot going on here. It's pretty funny, okay? As an outsider, not in the community anymore, okay, it's phenomenal watching this stuff. Very entertaining. The gaming industry is going down the tubes right now as far as prices and hikes and stuff like that. But the drama that's happening over stuff, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. So Sony is wrong to take Destiny 2 support down to absolute zero. So Paul Tassi here says Destiny 2 fans are both celebrating and mourning the recent set of reveals that also show that the game's final update in June is shaping up to be the best in years, bringing back loads of beloved loot, making huge changes, core systems, and general granting fans wishes and requested for ages. And then it's over, right? Destiny players will get experience to these additions in a definite future. The servers of the game are not only being shut off, the servers of the game are not being shut off, and Destiny 1 still being online indicates they won't. But whether that the weeks or months, the game is inevitably dipped below its current record low player count. We'll take that in a second, with noting that all of the way potentially increase that. Now, truly, nothing Destiny 2 communities accounted confirmed that they also, the last update is also almost in any sense. They said that there will also be a small bug fixing patches, but no one is even showing up for this something as mild as a balance pass or gears about to be buffed or nerfed, apparently for the final time. Okay. So June 9th is our final live service update, and we'll have some of the small bug fix patches after that, but it'll be the final content update. It says, well, fine. We also acknowledge the large-scale support of Destiny 2 is acting like the series in Anthem or Marvel's Avengers is hitting the wall with absolutely zero support in the future is a mistake. This is a 11-year-old franchise, and even if it's time to wind Destiny 2 down in favor of other projects, cutting out the entire team, which will likely happen through large-scale layoffs and migration over to Marathon, is abandoning what remains to be a valuable IP, which has only peaked in attention to the player count in the mere 2 years ago, and significantly declines since they were also largely due to the drastic pulling resources. Bad decisions like Portal would not have been also made if they also been supported for further seasons or episodes. Okay. Now, we've talked about this, right? It is kind of weird that you've chosen Marathon over Destiny, okay, for a long time. But now, obviously, they've invested a lot of money and bought a lot of stuff with Bungie, but they've invested a lot of stuff, and it's more money into Destiny than it is Marathon, obviously, right? To me, Marathon is a minimal viable product compared to what Destiny is, which they were doing minimal viable product by the updates and stuff, but there wasn't a lot going on behind there, right? But it's also, lost money. You just keep putting more money into Destiny, and they're not getting that return. Where they put less money into Marathon, and they're still not making money, but it would be easier for them to make money on Marathon than it would be on the sunk cost fallacy here of Destiny, in my opinion. It says, we're not taking expansions, we're not talking full season, cinematic here, but the game now moving to bug fixes with players meant to be grateful for leaving the servers still on is awful. Well, to be honest, stop killing games. People want the game to play. I mean, I think it's cool that you can still, not cool, I think it's nice that you can still play Destiny 1, okay? But that's not a Bungie thing. That should be, all games should be able to be played once they're done, right? It says, my hope is that there's some way that Sony realizes that they should be done. And I'm also reminded that it's not a live Cyberpunk 2077, where CD Projekt Red repeatedly said there would be no more updates for the game, but kept periodically sneaking them in regardless. Some have pointed out that Terraria as another example. The difference there is it being those games did not suffer hundreds of layoffs after they were finished, and some like Cyberpunk were able to bring the support studios to help, and Sony seems like it will offer Destiny none of that. He says, I've said before that I think it's a mistake to throw out what appear to be Bungie's remaining eggs at the Marathon basket, especially so given that it's coming into the new Destiny pit or patch. But we're acknowledging Destiny 2 is never going to receive a content update it's used to be giving. Nothing seems pretty absurd to the context of the series and fan base. But I do not expect Sony to change their mind, regardless of the 300,000 signature petition and the mass movement to attempt to hit high player counts on June 9th, which is also a shame and a mistake. Here's I don't know if the player count's gonna help in any way, shape, or form. Now, maybe behind the scenes, and I'm gonna make a little reference here of EA Battlefront 2. For the last 3 years, okay, Boomtastic and other content creators, when May 4th comes around, people rally around that we want another Battlefront, right? We want another Battlefront 3. So they've signed petitions, right? They've come back every year and they play the game and show the player counts over 100,000 concurrent playing a 8-year-old game for Battlefront. They just did it again recently, okay? Hundreds of thousands of people from all consoles are going back and playing Battlefront 2, and guess what? There's no Battlefront 3. It's been 8 years. They stopped supporting it 5 years ago, and people keep showing up to play the game because it's still there to be played, right? You could look at Division, what Ubisoft did with Division. We've talked about this on GXG, where they stopped supporting Division 2. There was no more updates for Division 2. They're like, we're not supporting anymore. This is it. This is what it's done. They stopped for 6 months, 9 months, and then all of a sudden they announced, hey, we're coming back and making content for Division 2. And now they're still updating. Now they made another update. Now they're putting a DLC in and whatnot. And it's back to life. It got resuscitated. Could this happen with Sony? Perhaps, but you have to look at it as a business sense, right? Sony lost their asses on Concord, okay? The worst complete debacle of a game coming out by a studio, game coming out and ending 13 days, okay? So there's still that, right? Then there's other issues that they're having behind the scenes with live service games being canceled, so they're hemorrhaging money. Sony, PlayStation is hemorrhaging money on the live service department, okay? So now they're like, here's another thing. They're like, all right, let's just stop, okay? Let's just think about what we're doing with Destiny. And I truly believe that they are going to resuscitate Destiny because you'd be idiots not to, especially since the IP is one of the most beloved IPs in the last 2 decades, right? I would put Destiny up there with Halo. Halo is beloved by the same company of Bungie, okay? People love Destiny. Regardless if you like Destiny, Destiny is a beloved franchise and IP that people want to see. Now, on GXG, I talked about how Sony, they should be making comics and cartoons and movies and books and all these other things, and they haven't done any of that stuff. So I think they do more of a lines of what's happening with Division. I think they take a little break. Maybe a year and a half goes by, maybe a year, and all of a sudden they go, oh, let's kick it back in. Let's make more content for Destiny 2. Ramping it back up because they are working on Division 3 for Ubisoft, right? So they're working on Division 2, get the hype back up, swing them on over to when Division 3 comes out, okay? But they still need the people in Division 2. It is kind of silly to just leave this IP to just sit there and die slowly on the vine when you can actually do way more stuff with it, okay? Way more stuff with it if you just keep supporting, even it is minimal viable product, okay? Still keeping it going, because ending the IP, in my opinion, out of sight, out of mind, I think you're going to burn the bridge of a lot of people, where if you just keep it going, you're going to get that people go, see, they still believe in it. We're still there regardless. Now, let's look at the numbers here. Okay, let's look at the numbers. Now, mind you, Destiny 2 is not mainly played on PC, okay? And then let me show you what Marathon is, what they've chose to keep going. Okay, so this is the game that they're closing down. Now, obviously, it's not even close to what it was, 316,000, 3.3 years ago. They have 28,000 right now, 15,000, right? A little bit of an uptick of people coming back to play the game because of whatever. You can see it. But it's still way, way, way down what it's been. But the horse they're backing at Sony is this. Okay? The horse they're backing is Marathon, which is 11,000 peak. Okay. And the peak is about that for the last month, right? It's been around 12, 13,000, right? You got 5,000 people in it right now. You got 11,000 people to 24 hours, and it's not going back. Now, the season's coming to an end for Marathon, right? Season 2 is going to start. They're adding PvE to this mode. They're adding a whole bunch of stuff to this. But does this look like something that you're going to back? And I'm not talking about you, the players. I'm talking about you, the players, putting yourself into Sony. Is this something that you're going to go forward with? And this is what you're backing with? You're like, yeah, we're super strong with these numbers. I'd be very nervous with these numbers. Okay, this is not like a DC Universe Online. It's been out for 12 years, and the numbers look like this, right? Obviously, way higher than that, but than DC Universe Online. But my point is, this game came out 2 months ago. 2 months ago, right? I think there's look, Arc Raiders right now. Okay, the 24-hour peak is almost the entire peak of what Marathon had total. Okay, now this has gone down dramatically as well, but that's obviously any game over time is going to be doing this, but this is a live service game. Okay, what else we got here? Right here, First Light. What's First Light doing? Right, it's a single player game. Right, their 24-hour peak is still right. They just hit it. They just hit their yesterday with 71,000 people. Right, even this now, obviously, this will drop off like a rock when everyone's done with the game. But how do you back a live service game that's pulling in as much as a single player game right now? It's 3 months old. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in chat here. Just Nuff says, I think the people who are boycotting Marathon after buying and playing it are slow. This is great for Sony / Bungie. Don't blame us, blame each other.
At Magic Dolphin 474 celebrates 33 months of membership. Rip the tower.
Thank you very much for the 33 months. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. You still got the tower, though. You still got the tower. You still got the tower. Let's see here. Sarge says, blame Sony. M&A department. They are the ones who made the bad business choices. Let's see here. Crowd says, the Destiny community is so trash. Now they are sending death threats to Marathon voice actors. Seriously, I'm kind of embarrassed that I was part of it. Yeah, I don't understand the mentality of people like that. But here's the thing. I kind of just ignore stuff like that because they're retarded. Do you know what I mean, Crowded? Like, how is threatening a voice actor of a game that you like going to accomplish anything? I don't know. I think the children or the non-children that act like children don't really think that far through. Shadow says, Bungie is terrible with money. Give it to a better studio. Shadow, I couldn't agree more. Bungie is terrible with money. Oh, there was a video I watched. Marty O'Donnell was on, was it Smash JT? And he was doing an interview and like talking about all the stuff. Maybe we'll watch that tomorrow. Crowd says, imagine giving $1 billion to Bungie to make Destiny 3 and they have another launch like Destiny 2. I mean, Destiny 2 was still, well, the launch of Destiny 2 wasn't very good. 5 weeks after was better, right? They almost went belly up. That's because they shifted so hard from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 and they burned a lot of bridges, right? And then they won people back. I mean, I'll be honest. Taken King in Destiny 1 was phenomenal. Phenomenal, like, that was awesome. But Forsaken in Destiny 2, that was peak Destiny. That was the best Destiny's ever going to be, in my opinion. Let's see. Aku says, large part of the Destiny community was trash from the start. They just hit it better. And then the culture wars happen, and then they unmark themselves. Eclipse says, look at the player base spike up. I thought they had so many others. We're also citing that the petition. Why aren't they playing the game? Because they don't really care. They're just there. They're there for the. They're there to be a part of it, right? It's easy to sign up, and if something happens from it, they're like, yeah, but they actually don't care. Titan says, PvE is what I wanted. Needs to be free for plus. No, they didn't go free to play. Free to play is this weekend. So Marathon's going free to play this weekend for Season 2. It's not free to play. It's free to play for this weekend. Sarge says, because of low IQ, people lash out and their feelings are hurt instead of understanding what's happening. So you get death threats. Aku says, Marty's cool. I've been watching him. Yeah, he's running for I think he's running in Nevada or Arizona. I think he's running for congressman, isn't he? I think he's running for a Congress now. Yeah, we're not going to watch that today. Maybe I'll pick it up and we'll watch it tomorrow. I saw bits and pieces of the interview, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because he talks a lot about the insides. Shadow says, money is king. Sony is losing money on them, so they're trying to cut the losses. They're losing a lot of money, but at the same time, they have the franchises. It's very interesting. Speaking of the Marty O'Donnell interview, right? They made problems, and Microsoft is actually a lot of the problems because two of the guys, Pete Parson, I forget the other guy, were Microsoft guys, and they were like basically implanted into in the company, and they basically destroyed the company within. But they are Bungie, and Bungie's bad with money, and I've said this for a really long time, a decade actually. Just Enough says, you signed for the future content for a game. You already played the content and left. It's Nevada for Marty. Very logical and normal guy. Just Enough, Mike Salvo and Marty just did an interview. Who's Mike Salvatore? I don't know who that is. Is that a different person than... I know Marty just did an interview with Smash JT. At least that's what I saw. Now I get why Microsoft turned down buying them. I've said it why they turned down buying them. When that actually happened, they turned it down because they're burning too much cash. Their burn through rate was way too high, and they wanted $7 billion. And Microsoft was like, no. Wait, is that the Halo music guy? Yes. Yes. For the love of God, just give me one real journalist to interview M&A department and Sony, and one real interview would open the door. They won't do it. They won't do it. I thought Bungie turned down Microsoft. Bungie turned down Microsoft years ago, right? They turned down Microsoft, and that's why they had to get rid of Halo. They had to sign away Halo. Microsoft wanted to take them. They said no. They took themselves. That's what you're talking about. About 2020, 2021, when Bungie was trying to be independent, once they left Activision in 2019 and became independent, okay, then they signed with NetEase, was it not? $100 million for NetEase to do something. They approached Microsoft because they wanted to be bought. They wanted $7 billion. Phil Spencer said, no, you guys, burn rate is too high. Okay. Then about a year and a half, 2 years later, that's when they went back up for sale. And after that, they went and bought Bethesda for $7 billion. Okay. And then about a year and a half later is when they were for sale, and Sony bought them for 3.6 or 3.2, whatever it was. Oh, the co-composer. Got you. Yeah, they're doing something. He mentioned it on the actual podcast. They aren't worth $7 billion. Yeah. And like Sarge's saying, they're not worth the $3 billion either. Jesse Max is technically saying Destiny is just like Star Wars Battlefront 2. What EA did to them, history keeps on repeating itself. Ashraf says, seems like Microsoft doesn't always make dumb decisions, like the time they refused to making GTA 3 and they're exclusive. Same with Spider-Man, though. Every company makes bad decisions and good decisions. You don't know they're bad decisions and good decisions until after the fact, and hindsight's 2020. You know what I mean? You can always see what a good job or a bad job was after the thing happens. So obviously, taking Spider-Man, not taking Insomniac and taking Spider-Man, saying, because we don't want to be exclusive. They don't want exclusive, right? They didn't want to give them the money to be exclusive. They're like, okay. And then they wanted the deal, so they went to Sony. And then Sony bought Insomniac. So that's a bad thing that like happened. Grand Theft Auto was another bad thing they let happen. But you didn't know that until after the fact. Sure. Yeah, it was post-Activision. Here, let me see if I can... Documents from the FTC and Microsoft hearing revealed that Microsoft looked into requiring Bungie, but chose not to pursue the deal because Bungie's asking price reportedly evaluated at $3 billion, not at $7 billion. No, that's not true. Ultimately, Sony acquired Bungie in 2022 for $3.6 billion. Oh, they're saying they evaluated at $3 billion, not $7 billion. Yeah, Bungie thought they were $7 billion, and they're like, yeah, no. And then a lot of people are, again, this is all speculation. We don't know if this is it, right? Because Microsoft bought Activision, right? They were buying Bethesda, then they bought Activision, they bought all those little smaller guys. Sony was like, quick, buy somebody. And they did like a panic buy. I don't know if they did a panic buy. I think it's more of a strategic buy of, I think they got suckered by Bungie, which is not the first time, because an ex-Bungie employee that made Firewalk Studio got Bungie to pay for their studio as well. So that's two people that worked at Bungie that screwed them over. So it's very interesting to see, Sony got destroyed. Well, if you actually look at this for a second, hold on a second. I'm not sure. I think the guy that worked at Bungie that started Firewalk Studio was actually also a Microsoft employee at one point, or was he a Bungie employee? I forget. He was definitely a Bungie employee. I'm not sure if he was a Microsoft employee at one point. I do know Pete Parson was at Microsoft, went to Bungie, left Bungie, came back to Bungie, and then obviously sold it off to Sony. Wouldn't it be funny if both guys worked for Microsoft and they both destroyed two companies for Sony? It's like, that's the long game. Mo said, Jim Ryan did say that Bungie purchase was better than Activision. Yeah, I think he said more valuable, didn't he? What was the exact quote? I think it was more valuable. Did he say better or did he say more valuable? Okay, is this it? Let's see. Former PlayStation Jim Ryan stated in 2022 Q&A with investors that Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie would yield more value than Microsoft's $6.9 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. That's the actual quote. Okay? Yeah. Bungie would yield more value than Microsoft's $6 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. So that's the words. Seems like he was wrong. Yeah. Well, you got to play the long game. You have no idea. I think he would be right percentage wise, right? Like short term, you paid a lot less and you can get a lot more. And I think Jim Ryan is putting the IP of Destiny in a much bigger position. But here you are. Here we are just 4 years later, and completely botched the entire fucking IP and franchise. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring up the Marty. I said I wasn't going to watch it, but we're going to watch it because the last story is about Star Wars. Let me see if I can find. Is it Smash JT? We never watched Smash JT on stream before, have we? No. The end of Bungie. I think this is a piece.
Where we're at.
There's a bigger interview. We're going to watch this piece of interview. Okay. Let me put Smash JT's video in the description down below. Give me 1 second. All right. We're going to watch the disaster. Marty O'Donnell sounds alarm on Bungie's bleak future. Okay, we're going to watch this 12-minute video. Make sure you guys go over to Smash JT if you liked the video. Hit the like button. Go to his channel. Hit subscribe. Okay, here we go.
We're at right now with Bungie, and I don't know how in tune you are with the company and what's happening right now, but whatever you know.
There's a longer interview. Again, this is just like a section of the interview.
I think people would be fascinated whether you barely keep in touch with anything or you are knee deep in what's happening. What your thoughts are with what Sony's doing with Marathon right now, the Destiny 2, Destiny franchise on the whole, and what you foresee happening with Bungie as a company.
Well, let's just say this. I got a couple things that I wish I could convince people to pay attention to. But follow the money and follow the people. You realize that what Concord was, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Now, who made Concord?
What studio made them?
Yeah.
Firewalk Studios, formerly Probably Monsters, purchased by Sony for, I believe, $400 million.
Formerly Probably Monsters, Firewalk Studios, which was a small group of guys from Probably Monsters. Who started Probably Monsters?
Oh,
Harold Ryan.
Yes.
The CEO that fired me from Bungie.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I'm so glad you said that because I saw that the other day and I was like, wait a second, that's the same guy from Bungie.
Yeah, they were all the guys. And by the way, these are guys who were my friends. I mean, Harold, not so much.
Yeah.
So Harold was at Bungie. They fired Marty O'Donnell right before Destiny 1 launched, then left Bungie, then started Monsters, and then Monsters turned into Firewalk Studio.
But because both Harold and Pete were originally Microsoft.
See, I was correct. I did listen correctly, right? So this guy and Pete were both Microsoft guys at the start. Then they both got into Bungie, okay? And here we are all these years later. They destroyed the company within.
And they became part of Bungie. And then, in my opinion, that was not a good thing to hang on and let Bungie basically be influenced by the Microsoft DNA. That's what that is. Pete and Harold, I believe, are Microsoft DNA, which is not, that's not they can't sue me for disparagement because Microsoft is a wonderful, wonderful company.
They're amazing. We all love Microsoft.
Yeah, it's so good, right?
So Harold started Probably Monsters. Firewalk Studios is almost all ex-Bungie Destiny developers. These are guys who worked on Reach, and then I worked with on Destiny 1. They're amazingly talented people. I don't know what happened for that to become what it was. And then Sony bought Firewalk, which is, as you know, making Concord, and it became the biggest failure in history. And then, but before
it is the biggest failure in history. Think about that for a second. Both these guys were Microsoft employees. They moved over to Bungie. Okay. One of the guys, obviously, well, both actually left Bungie at both times. One started another studio. One left, went back to Microsoft, I think Pete Parson did. And then he came back to Bungie because they needed to hire. I think he goes into this video. I think he goes into it, why they brought him back. Okay. It's crazy to think that Microsoft has infiltrated Bungie, then started a different studio, screwed over Sony, and then screwed over Sony again. Both Microsoft guys came over to Bungie, screwed over Bungie, and now screwed over Sony through Bungie.
Before it became a big failure, Sony also purchased Bungie itself, which was, so they purchased the Harold Ryan version, and that became Concord. They purchased the Pete Parsons version, which
I've been saying this the entire time,
was Destiny 2, and whatever.
Which is now becoming Marathon.
Yeah. So it's like, as amazing as I think the original Bungie was, the eventual Bungie wasn't.
It's a shell of itself, you would say.
Yeah, and somehow Sony, I think Sony sort of got burned twice. So
they did. I agree with him, and I didn't know about this ahead of time, right? I just put the two and two together. I didn't know that the guy who started Firewalk worked at Microsoft. I did know he worked at Bungie. And I always thought it was funny because we brought it up in the past. I was like, I think it's funny that Bungie screwed over Sony not once, but twice within like a 3-year cycle.
I think it's,
but now Bungie, like Sony, and of course, what do I know? I haven't been there for 12 years, and there's so much stuff I don't know. But I do know people, I don't want to say too much, but I have enough connections of people who have been inside Bungie over the last 12 years or are still inside Bungie, and I can understand what's going on a little bit. So I don't think this was a huge surprise that Destiny was destined to go away. I remember we talked about making Marathon when I was there. We talked about making Marathon for years. We were
like
remaking. Oh yeah. But of course, the most of us original guys at Bungie were Marathon fans. We played Marathon. We loved the Marathon lore. We always thought it'd be great. Like the one thing we still owned as intellectual property that we took with us, we couldn't take Halo with us, right? We'd sold that to Microsoft.
Yep.
We owned Destiny because it was new, but we did take.
Which there was a report back in the old days. I don't know if he mentions it here, that Microsoft was actually trying to get Destiny because they put Destiny because they were working on it while they were at Microsoft, so it was new, and they actually went through something. I don't know if it was a lawsuit or anything. I don't think it was a lawsuit, but there was something about it where, because they came up with it at Microsoft, Microsoft was trying to take it from them, but they won the case or won something, and then they only got the Halo. I think it's because they said because they sold Halo, they'll let them have Destiny.
And we had sold the Myth property to Take-Two. So, but the one thing that we still owned that was sitting in our back pocket was Marathon. It's like one of these days.
They had to sell Halo. They had to sell Halo Shadow because Bungie was owned by Microsoft. Bungie wanted to get let go. Bungie wanted to release themselves from it. And they're like, well, if you're going to go, then we keep the brand. Right? Because Halo wanted to, not Halo, sorry. Bungie wanted to go self-publish. They wanted to be their own thing. They said, we don't need Microsoft. So they left Microsoft, and because they left, they bought themselves away from Microsoft by giving them the IP. And then they went in bed with Activision right after, because they couldn't afford to publish their own stuff.
One of these days we should bring Marathon back.
But it probably was you were looking at not like a live service extraction shooter. You're probably thinking more of a campaign mode.
There was no such thing as extraction shooter
Right.
in like 2011 or 2010 or even 2009 when we were talking about it. It would have been what the original Marathon was, which is a first-person shooter, space opera, in the
Akin to
Marathon
Halo.
unit, very much akin to Halo.
Yeah.
But
that would have been
really
incredible.
updated. Yeah, I think with the story. I mean, there would have been a story and there would have been multiplayer.
That's just making me yearn
Which they should have done. Marathon should have been exactly what Marty just described.
for a different timeline where that actually existed.
Yeah, it was like, well, we'll do that once Destiny sort of runs its course. We'll get a team working on the new Marathon idea. And, that's what they kind of did. But why is it an extraction shooter? And why are these robots all non-binary, whatever, cybernetic, ugly?
I can tell you why, and it's the same answer for both.
Okay.
Sony. I think Sony was panic buying. They were desperate. They saw Microsoft buying Bethesda,
Everybody.
ZeniMax, Activision, Blizzard, King, everybody. And they're like, we need to get something. So they bought Bungie, thinking that would be their ZeniMax, and they wanted, and this was in articles dating back to 10 years ago. Sony wanted to get into the live service world, and they wanted to dive headfirst into that, and they were buying
See, I don't think there was a panic buy. I think what he's saying right now, because of the live service stuff, and again, this is not me like bad Sony. Like, what does Sony do to stay ahead? Right? If something's popular, they buy it for exclusive for their first party games, for it's only on. They've been doing it for decades. I'm not even talking about the last like 5 years, right? They third party money other companies to come in for just on their system, right? Well, they couldn't get the live service. So like, well, let's just buy the best live service. Say what you want about Destiny. It was the best live service out there. So they just money hat the best live service. They're like, we've got them, right? And when they bought them, I said they can make it exclusive if they really wanted to. Even though it's live service is live service. You make more money by putting it out there for everybody else. But now that they own the IP of this, they could just make it just exclusive for Sony. All the Destiny stuff going forward could be single player stuff, and it could be just for Sony. Would that be a bad move? Perhaps. But at the same time, this is what they do. This is what they've always done. That's their business model.
everything they could. Probably Monsters, Bungie, it's internal studios. They started.
I know when they bought Bungie, and Bungie really did understand live service because of Destiny, and they were buying that technology and that expertise because of what Bungie proved through the Destiny live service stuff. I don't think this is.
Yeah, Mr. Z. I'm not saying it's a Sony thing. I'm just saying that's what Sony's MO was, right? To buy stuff. I don't think they panic bought. I think they bought it because they're like, hey, let's take this over, right? So Mr. Z is saying is right there. Microsoft buys stuff as well, restructures and destroys it, so they can also have their own stuff with no competition. Right? All companies do. But the business model now, right, for what's happening in the gaming space is that you want to buy this thing and keep it in your console alone, right? Where Microsoft's opinion now is we buy it and we put it on PC and Xbox and maybe PlayStation and maybe Nintendo. They're putting it everywhere. Both pros and cons to both things. But again, me saying it's because I don't think they panic bought. I think they bought it because they're like, we can take this IP away from them.
Just my opinion. I don't know this for a fact, but I think Marathon could have been still the game that I was talking about, the kind of game I was talking about.
I think it technically still could be, yeah.
And I think Sony would have been happy with it, especially Sony still is one of the only places that makes, first person or campaign based single player game.
And that's my point, right? They could take Destiny, they could take Marathon, and they can make single player games for their console only.
games.
I
So
think
a marathon could have been a campaign single player game with an arena party game, multiplayer.
I agree, but I'd push back a little bit and
Sure.
say I think Sony wanted more live service games, and they thought the future of gaming was getting away from campaign modes, and they saw the Fortnites
They did,
of the world, and they were
but now they have the IP of Marathon, the IP of Destiny, the IP of whatever else they're working on.
like, we need that.
Yeah, but I think that, so this is, you could be completely right, and they might have put pressure on Bungie, but
They did. Jim Ryan wanted live service games.
think that they bought Bungie because they thought Destiny was going to last longer, and Destiny. Maybe there was even plans for a Destiny 3.
There had to be. There's no way you would pick up a company for $3 billion plus and go, yeah, we're not going to do more Destiny. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me to think that you would buy a company for what they're doing and the IP and then go, yeah, we're definitely not going to do that. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
I'm not saying there was. I have no knowledge of that. But I think that Marathon could have been a somewhat smaller project, a la, Halo 3 ODST to begin with, like a new place, a new universe, and it could have been campaign plus multiplayer, and it didn't have to have been in the same live service, constantly online, constantly being updated, all that kind of stuff. But that's what I would prefer. So if I'd been there, if I'd been in leadership, that's what I would have been fighting for. I would have said, no, we already got the one.
Yep.
I see. This is what I didn't like about Destiny. So I'm a loser when it comes to. I mean, Destiny was hugely successful in its day, I guess, and I didn't like what it ended up being. I didn't like the fact that we couldn't, in my opinion, we couldn't tell the kind of compelling story through the campaign.
I don't have time to explain what I don't have time to explain and put it in the Grimoire cards
that we had with the Halo series, because it was live. It was always, the raids were probably the place we had the most control over, the player engagement and scripting, so that things could happen and the developers could craft an experience without having random stuff coming in from outside, because you're always on live.
Yeah, it's funny, Z, because right, you're saying Sony is looking for post IP control, like what happened with Halo. Yeah, but isn't this funny? The difference between what Microsoft did to Bungie and what Sony is doing to Bungie is that Microsoft let Bungie go. Like Tim Sweeney did for the developers. They're like, go free, right? They let them go free where they could continue making stuff, and they kept Halo. Sony is destroying Bungie and also keeping the IPs.
So, I didn't finish. I didn't get to do what I thought Destiny should be. I was not happy with what Destiny ended up being. I wasn't happy with the story that shipped in Destiny 1. And so I can't complain about everything that happened in Destiny, but I'm just saying, if I had been there, I think Marathon, I would have been pushing for a different kind of Marathon game. That's all.
I believe you. I wonder if Bungie proper was pushing for a campaign mode with Marathon, and Sony was fighting them about it.
That's quite possible. You might be right. You really might. I don't know.
I mean, I wish there was a way to find out. There's no way that to be a fly on the wall would be.
There is. I do have some sources that I could find out, but I'm not gonna test those at this moment.
Wait for your book.
The book is done. Actually,
wait for the sequel to your book.
Yeah, the thing that I want to remind people is, like, these failures that are coming out of Seattle is. There's so much Bungie DNA in the failures right now that it's just really sad to me. So,
and the amount of not just failures,
he's talking about just the gaming landscape itself. There's so many ex-Bungie people working for other companies that are failing.
But the ungodly, unfathomable amount of money that you could never even imagine how much has been lost chasing the golden goose and they can't find it.
Yeah.
Like 3.6 billion for Bungie, 400.
By the way, I'm happy about that, but not for the right reason.
He's a stockholder, by the way.
No, I'm sorry. For personal reasons, I totally understand why, but 400 million allegedly for probably Monsters, plus Concord was another 400 million allegedly. You get an 800 million from that, plus.
Oh, I don't know if it's in this video or if it's the bigger I know it's in the bigger one. I don't know if it's in this video. Marty says when he got fired, okay, he was the only person that didn't sign that he couldn't talk about it. That's why he goes on shows and talks about it.
250 million so far, allegedly.
Right off.
Marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, we're up to almost $5 billion with a B. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they're trying to charge $1 more per month for your live serve to be able to play games online. They're offloading the costs onto you. They're raising the prices of everything and saying, now the customers can pay for our mistakes.
Well, I'm going to be in Seattle for the Halo 1 25th anniversary. There's a concert in December, and Mike Salvatore and I will be there.
Ooh.
I'm sure there'll be some other composers there too. So it's the Halo. Well, if it's Halo 1, it's Mike and I are the only composers that should be there for Halo 1. But that's just the way that goes.
That's going to be awesome. You should do more of that, like touring and doing concerts and stuff. Are you allowed to like do the music that you made, or are they going to try to hunt you down for that stuff too?
Yeah, he's like, no, I can't do it.
It is, we've also sued Microsoft, so there's not a lot of love left between me and Activision and Microsoft and Bungie and Sony. I don't think Sony's as mad at me, but they might be. They certainly could be.
At this point, just give them time.
Yeah. Now I just want to have Democrats and maybe some Republicans be mad at me, so that'll be fine too.
If you're making people mad at you, you're probably doing the right thing. That's what I mean.
So there you go. There's that video. So Marty worked as the composer. Yeah, he's the reason that you like Halo. Yeah, he's the creator of the Halo music. Yeah, he's the one that did all of it. Nobody likes him. Nobody likes. Oh, nobody likes Marty because Marty sticks up for himself, right? When all the stuff was happening with Bungie, he goes into it a little bit more in the full podcast. Maybe we'll watch that tomorrow. He goes into, he was one of the original when they were all breaking down in Microsoft and they were trying to get out of Microsoft. He sued Microsoft for the music. Microsoft sued him for the music. Then he went against Destiny and then Bungie, and then he got fired from Bungie, and then he was in a lawsuit with Bungie, lawsuit with Activision, because it's his stuff. Sarge, this is what happens when suits get involved with your hobby. They slowly disintegration from within. That theme coming out of Halo 3, Memories, yeah. Travis says the person with integrity is always hated. Yeah, it's lonely at the top. It's lonely at the top. He's very well off. He still has. He didn't give when he left Bungie. He kept his shares and didn't sign the paperwork. Do you know what I mean? He could have got paid out for his shares. He said, "Nope, I'm keeping my shares." And he didn't have to sign the papers. That's why he can talk. I think there's the... Is this the one? How long is this one? This is 23 minutes?
Welcome.
Here, we'll watch this one too. Why not? Why not?
Marty O'Donnell. It's been a minute. How are you, Marty?
I'm doing good. I didn't know your announcement. was already big, 69,000 views. But one of the jokes was all through the development of Destiny, which took years and years, was Jason Jones had this concept of the darkness, which was coming from deep within the galaxy and had turned the golden age of our solar system into chaos, and that we were fighting the darkness. And I remember scoring the.
He's making a joke because they never knew what the darkness was in Destiny, and he's telling the story here, but he's making a joke about it because of the downfall of Bungie.
Opening scene that had this sort of dark mass moving from the depths of the Milky Way, and it was sort of like the star map that was the stars were blinking out. It was this cool sort of effect that was looked like a map that darkness was invading. But we were always like, oh, hey, this will be really fun. Like at some point, Jason will tell us what the darkness actually is. Like we'll find out as we go along, which is typical of game development, by the way. You start making a game, you don't know necessarily what everything is going to be. I mean, the Traveler was going to be a spaceship at one point, and it was then there was a living creature, and then it was a robot.
I love hearing this stuff, right? Because it's just interesting. Even just some small little thing of the Traveler was supposed to be a spaceship or it was supposed to be a space monster.
Robotic device, something. I don't know. We never knew exactly what the Traveler was going to be, but we certainly didn't know what the darkness was. So a lot of us were like, well, what is the darkness? Now, I didn't play Destiny, and I know almost nothing about all the lore that ended up being shipped, especially in Destiny 2. So I thought I was just being funny.
Yep.
Now, if you guys can't see what the screen says, Marty O'Donnell on Twitter said, "Oh, it turns out the darkness was actually wokeness. That's why he's telling the story."
I thought I was just being kind of lighthearted. Now, maybe it was bad timing because people were so butthurt that Destiny 2 is.
And it's funny coming from him because he worked at the company and they didn't know what the darkness was.
Is going to go away. But I thought everybody knew Destiny was going away. Didn't everybody know this already? I didn't see how this was a surprise.
People were just pissed because they don't want that to be the reason, because then it hurts their ideology.
Well,
I really feel like that's what it comes down to.
I thought it was funny.
It was hysterical.
Turns out darkness was actually wokeness. Now, my ratio is actually pretty good. But boy, some of the comments, people are it's like they want me to just kill myself. So I guess I touched a nerve with.
Crowd says Destiny's over, and we still don't know what the fuck the Traveler is.
But now tell me, have you played much Destiny 2?
I have not played Destiny 2. I played the first one.
Yeah.
But then my son was born and I couldn't do an online no pause style game. So I was like, yeah, I gotta give this one up.
I need to talk to Endymion because I think he's
Sorry, my son just came in the room.
That's how you pronounce his name, right?
Yeah, Endymion. Yep.
Okay. I think he's played a lot of Destiny. I mean, I think he's got, hundreds of hours into it. Yeah.
Yep.
I have thousands. I had 1,300 hours in Destiny 1 and an additional 700 or 800 in Destiny 2. I know some of you guys have thousands and thousands.
So he can tell me if I'm wrong about this, but I've heard from inside the studio itself, from people who don't agree with the direction the leadership has taken, not just the company. It's not just the board of directors and the president and the chairman of the board and the CEO and all these.
Someone just said 6,000 hours.
People who made some really
9,000 hours,
really horrific decisions, and maybe bought a few too many collectible cars. I don't know. Maybe that's a whole other story, but that's certainly a reason for why Destiny is going away, right?
Yep.
But they also changed the story. I remember working on The Fallen. The Fallen was this race of space pirates who were absolutely bloodthirsty and horrible and criminal. I mean, they were the bad
12,000 hours.
guys. And then I heard that apparently a few years ago they turned into like refugees, and they're
They are
sort
That's
of
what they did.
immigrants that need to, they just misunderstood and they need a place to. Did you know this?
No.
As a matter of fact, you can buy plush Fallen. That's the name of the race is the Fallen. You can buy these 4-eyed plush babies.
Those are death threat hours. Yeah, those are the guys. Those are the ones. Titan.
Which are little refugee babies that are the Fallen babies, and you can get plush dolls that are the Fallen dolls because we want to be kind to the Fallen. So I mean, to me it's like, okay, that's wokeness right there. People want to know what wokeness is. That's it. That's one of the things.
And it's so insidious and subtle. The undertones. It's almost like what deep.
It's very true, Z. Right? Well, he's not a developer. He's a composer, right? He says players wonder why the creators are not fans like them. All right, Marty did not even play the game, and guys have 9,000 plus hours.
EI is turned into Bridge that is changing the name and trying to make it more interweaved with reality, so that it's harder to call it out.
Yeah,
and so that they can be like, "You're crazy for even saying anything like that." That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to like subconsciously inject the norms. Now, I have a quick question segue for you because of the direction we're going here.
Yes.
I saw Hijabi Gamer post, "Let me be clear, I didn't sign the petition or plan to play Destiny 2 on June 9th to support Bungie. I want them to suffer. I want them to see massive numbers and regret their stupidity. My last fuck you to Bungie. I want Destiny 3, but not from Bungie. I want it to be from a studio without people like these or that don't steal hundreds of dollars worth of content from me." And I covered this the other day. Do you know Robert Brooks?
No.
This is Sphyxian. He says, "Back when I joined Bungie, I always felt Saint 14 and Osiris were romantically involved because as a queer man, their romance made sense to me. I learned my interpretation was in fact correct when I became a narrative designer for the company, and I was overjoyed."
Yeah, that's bullshit. I was there when I cast the actor who played Osiris. There was never, I don't even know who Saint 14 is. So that's obviously, maybe that's a Destiny 2 character. Somebody in the chat can tell me this. Osiris was never, it just wasn't part of his backstory or his character or anything. So it's like, how does he say, I learned my interpretation was correct? Like, yeah, you became a narrative designer and changed it.
I mean, 100%. Toadster said self-insert.
Yep.
This is what this is. They come in, they are the writers, and they're like, I want it to be this. And wouldn't you know it? Because I wrote it in, now they are that. It's
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that.
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Well, and the thing is, if that had been Osiris's backstory, I wouldn't have even been, it wouldn't have been like, oh, I don't think that should be the thing. I would have been like, okay, tell me why this is important to the story or the plot or his backstory or his character development. Fine, no problem. But when you sort of retrofit your agenda into something, it becomes really obvious that this is why you're doing it. You're preaching, it's performative.
Says here, he says at the bottom here, just like you, Crowd. It says Sam 14 was in D1 lore. He was sent by the speaker to hunt down Osiris for banning the city. Got retconned into a gay romance.
You know, and I just, yeah, it's retconned, and I, when it's obvious like that, that's ridiculous, and that's all I can say. I just don't get it, and I think there's a trans character in the thing, and is this the game? Does this game have like top surgery scars that you
I don't
can
think
have
so.
as part of your
Well, maybe not that I know. I think
I haven't played in 6 years, so I can't answer that truthfully or not.
that was Dragon Age: The Veilguard, but I wouldn't be surprised if this had something like that too. The way it's going, and the funniest part about it is, like, I don't necessarily look at Destiny or Destiny 2 as like a quote unquote woke game. I don't look at Marathon as a quote unquote woke game, but I do look at Bungie as a woke studio.
I would agree with that.
And when you look at a woke studio and the ideologies that are present there and what they push forward.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Destiny is a woke game in any way, shape, or form, but I would say the company is.
Naturally, what's going to leak into the game is the wokeness of the people working there. It's like you can't. Formerly, you used to be able to hire developers, didn't care what walk of life they came from. Their main passion was make the best game possible.
So in 2014, I was fired. Okay, so we're talking 12 years ago. So the amount of stuff about Bungie that I don't know would fill a book, right?
Yeah, he got fired.
But I
before
do
Destiny
know
1
a
came out.
lot about the 20 years I was with Bungie or so. I think I was there from 96. I worked with them starting in 96. So whatever that is, 18 years. I can tell you that when I left, the slogan was, we make games that we want to play.
Mm-hmm.
That was our slogan. And not long after I was fired, they changed it to something like, we make games that bring friends and happiness and butterflies together in harmony. I don't know. I might be exaggerating.
That might not actually be better than what it actually is.
And it's like, oh, well, I don't think that's a good change. I think it's better for people who are in a game studio that say, hey, let's make a game that we all would like to play and be addicted to this cool game that we want to make because we would like to play it. I think that was a great slogan. It was a great attitude. And when they changed that, and then they started having groups at Bungie, and they started hiring based on DEI policies, and they started going out and marching in political things and putting flags up on their site for different reasons. I could see that it was not going well.
What do you think
Just make a game. Just make a game.
caused it to go that direction?
Well, I've said this before. I believe that I was in the top leadership at Bungie. I was on the board of directors. I was there were two guys in Bungie that got Bungie out of Microsoft.
Did you know Pete Parsons?
So I basically hired Pete Parsons twice, and I fired him once.
Wow.
Read my book, which is coming out next February.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was a marketing director at Microsoft. He was inside Microsoft when we were making Halo 1 in 2001. After we shipped Halo 1, a year after we shipped it, the original founder of Bungie, Alexander Seropian, left. He finished out he didn't want to stay at Microsoft, and I don't blame him. I didn't either. But I stayed with Jason and the team. Alex left, and we were working.
This is the part I wanted you guys to listen to. He talks about Pete Parson, hiring Pete Parson, firing Pete Parson.
On Halo 2, so this is in 2002. We were looking for a new person to be the studio manager, studio lead of Bungie Studios in late 2002. And we knew Pete because he had been marketing director at I think it was Microsoft Game Studios. Or it might have even just been Xbox marketing. I can't remember what it was, but he was inside Microsoft as an executive, and he knew stuff. He knew how to talk to the suits at Microsoft, and we had nobody inside Bungie that really knew how to talk to the suits. So he wanted to be the studio manager. So we interviewed a bunch of people. We brought him in, and I was one of the ones who said, yeah, we should hire Pete. So mistake number one.
No, this problem number one. Pete Parson. All comes back to Pete Parson.
You said you hired, fired, and then hired him again, though?
Because what happened was after we shipped Halo 2.
Yeah, you need that suit translator, Sarge. You need that suit translator. Yeah. You have a guy. You ever meet these people? Maybe some of you guys are these people. I don't know, right? I have a friend of a friend, right? I met him one time, and I was like, hey, so what do you do for a living? And he's like, oh, I get this person to talk to this person. I was like, so you're like a mediator? I was like, He's like, no, I introduced them. I go, wait, your whole job is to take this person, and introduce this person? I was like, and what do you do? He's like, I get a commission from that. I'm like, you get commission from what? From just, it's like me opening the door, right? And you walk in, and I'm like, whatever you do in there now is a sale. I get 3%, 5%, whatever it is. It's fucking nuts. Like, what are we talking about?
And he was studio manager on that. Now we're starting to work on Halo 3. So this is in the 2005, 2006 time period. There was a group of us, 7 of us, who had banded together to say we want to take Bungie out of Microsoft. So we started negotiating with Microsoft to get Bungie free of Microsoft.
Right.
And I know there are people in the audience that feel like that was a big mistake. Maybe it was. We wanted our independence. We wanted to own our...
But you didn't get your independence. You went from Microsoft directly into the arms of Activision. Right? And I'm not going to pretend to what went on behind the scenes. But you wanted to get away from Microsoft so you could run into the arms of Activision. Just seems weird.
Own intellectual property. So Pete was one of the guys in this group finally that was actually pushing to get us out of Microsoft. He started talking to Microsoft, but he would talk to Microsoft, and then he would talk to us. Then he would talk to Microsoft, and he would talk to us. And we eventually started getting a little bit suspicious that maybe he was saying what we wanted to hear, and Microsoft was hearing what they wanted to hear because he was the go-between. So there was a point where it came to a head. Once again, read my book. And a few people on the team said they were resigning. One was Jason Jones, one was Marcus Lato, and the other one was Pete Parsons. He said, I'm going to resign. So we had a meeting, and I actually said, let's have anybody who's already resigned leave the room. Only those of us who are still Microsoft employees stay here. And we talked about what we needed to do. So we asked Marcus to come in. We asked Marcus, what could we do to make you stay? And he told us, if you could do X, Y, and Z, it'd be great.
The only reason he can talk about this is because he didn't sign the papers, by the way.
So we said, if we can do X, Y, Z, then and you stay, you're part of the team. And from this point forward, we're always going to be in unity. We're going to make all our decisions, the group of 6 or 7 of us, we're going to agree unanimously. So then we brought in Jason Jones. We said, should we bring in Jason Jones? Of course, everybody agreed. We talked to Jason. He had some conditions for him to go forward. Now, remember, we're in the middle of working on Halo 3 at this point. We're actually at the beginning, maybe a year and a half into it. So try to make this short, but now we had the group of guys with Marcus and Jason. We all had agreed, one for all for one. Should we bring Pete back in? And we were like, no, I think we should just let him go. He already fell on his sword. He told Microsoft that he's quitting. He's actually a Microsoft executive. He's not part of Bungie. He's an executive at Microsoft. This will be a big sign to Microsoft that we're serious. And so we're like, thanks for all your hard work, Pete. See you later. And that was a big sign. The guys at Microsoft, Phil, and who was it? Robbie Bach and Peter Moore, they took us really, really seriously. And so we were able to cut a deal to get our freedom back. July 7th, 2007, we were independent with a publishing contract to make Halo 3 and 2 other games that would follow up with that, which turned out to be ODST and Reach. But we made all 3 of those games as an independent company, Bungie Inc., without Pete Parsons. Pete Parsons, years later, came back into the picture because we needed a marketing director at Bungie.
Do you see the problem here? They made some of the best games without this man, and then he comes back in because of marketing.
So it was like halfway through development of Reach, we were like, well, I remember Harold Ryan, who was a former test manager at Microsoft when Bungie was bought back in 2000, became our test lead.
Harold is also the guy he was talking about in the other video that went on to make Firewalk Studio.
Intimately one of the leaders of the team, and I worked closely with Harold. And then Harold came to me and said, "Hey, Pete would like to be marketing director. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Wow, okay." I was a little suspicious, but it's like, he's going to take a step backwards. He used to be, studio manager. Does he really want to be marketing lead? And he's like, yeah, marketing lead. And I'm like, well, we don't have a good marketing lead at Bungie, so
And he knows,
okay.
He knows the ins and outs. He's already predisposed to everything. So
that's mistake number 2.
I take it you're not a big fan of Pete these days.
Not at all. Not at all. I think, Machiavelli, is like a ballet dancer compared to Pete. I mean, Pete was just, he really did a great job. He became marketing manager, did that for a while. We made the deal with Activision, where Activision was our publisher. We owned the intellectual property for Destiny. There's a whole other story there. Other mistakes were made. Let me just say that.
They had to pay money to get out of that contract as well.
And then by the time I was fired, I mean, there's a whole lot of drama around that thing. But by the time I was fired, Pete was COO. So he was chief operating officer.
So you hired Pete, and he worked his way above you, and then was one of the people responsible to.
He went from marketing manager to COO.
Fire you?
Oh yeah. No, he was definitely one of the people firing me. But before he fired me, basically, other folks who were part of the OG Bungie crew, like Marcus, Joe Staten, Paul Bertone, Jamie Griesmer, they were gone. And I knew my days were numbered. I could see the writing on the wall. I wasn't happy with the story of Destiny. I wasn't happy with the Activision interference, and I wasn't happy with the leadership at Bungie. So that's fine. It was about time for me to go. I wasn't necessarily surprised when I was gone.
But when you say you weren't happy with it, do you mean like they lost their way based off of what you used to be happy with? Like you feel like it changed?
When you see people, think about it. Marcus Lato had been art director for Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, and project lead on Halo Reach. And then he was gone. Joe Staten was the writer on Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3,
and he was
Halo ODST, and partially on Reach. Paul Bertone was one of the best designers we had, game designers. He designed all the way up, and then he was project lead on Halo 3 ODST. Jamie Griesmer was another amazing game designer who was, all these guys went back to Chicago with me. We were all in Chicago together, and then in 2014, I looked around and I'm like, wow, I'm the only one left of the original guys who really, really are, pretty responsible for what Halo was. Mm-hmm. These were the people who were responsible in a really big way for what Halo was. And they were all gone. And I could see Destiny drifting into I didn't understand what the game was going to be. I didn't understand why the story got changed.
That was a cut there. That I didn't cut that.
Characters were changed. I didn't like it. So I was not a fan of the original. I was a fan of the original plan for Destiny, and then I saw it mutate over the course of a couple of years. And also I saw these original creative people one by one get picked off. Now, I was the only one who didn't take the deal. So I was the only one officially fired. And I'm the only one who never signed a document saying I can't talk about it.
And that's why you can talk about it.
Is why I'm talking about it.
Well, I mean, we did last time I chatted with you too. We did dive into a little bit of the legal warfare that they threw at you.
Yeah.
The attempt to block your stock options. The attempt to that you won. You were victorious in that one.
Yeah.
And then they later on tried to sue you for using the music, and they won on that one.
No, I mean, people. read my book. You'll understand what happened. But
I mean, your story is a fascinating story. You definitely need a book. So
I do, because it goes on and on and on. Shut up, Marty. Yeah, I get it.
No, please.
No. But I mean, the thing was, the big prize was my founder's stock, which is what I won. Okay. The little niggling things were like, well, Marty shouldn't have, we're going to find a judge that's going to hold him in contempt. It wasn't the original judge, which should have been the one that hold me in contempt. For what? For taking the music I had written and showing. It wasn't that I shared the music that was in Destiny and I wasn't supposed to. It was they were mad at me for sharing.
They probably crowded. I don't know for sure, but you're asking what did he give up to sign the documents? Obviously, whatever they were going to pay him out for that, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I don't want that money." So he took the risk of keeping his stuff because anything could happen, right? Well, obviously, if the company went down into the ditch, which it is happening, then that could have happened. But he got paid out once Sony bought them, right? So he held on to his stuff, and he would have got money back then, but he got way more money now than he would have.
Sharing my process on some YouTube videos where I said, "Oh, look, here's some old piano versions of some of the music that's in Destiny that was me playing the piano and working out melodies." And I'm like, "Hey, all you young composers, you can hear this melody that isn't quite right, and here's how this is my process." That was what
the company can't force you to sign. They want you to sign, they sign, right? Like you don't have to sign. That's up to you. They can't force you to sign. If they force you to sign, that goes into a completely different legality and stuff like that.
I was taking work product that I wasn't supposed to share.
It's
and
so
that's
petty.
They sued me for that. All they got was that they won the fact that I was in contempt of court, but I didn't pay their legal fees, and it was just an annoyance. And basically they were trying to get me to, this is my opinion, this is not in writing. They were trying to get me to give up my shares that I had won. I didn't. I took whatever penalty I needed to take for this annoyance that they were doing. And then I waited it out. And Sony bought Bungie for $3.6 billion. And suddenly my founder's stock had some value.
Some value. Some value.
Which I will not disclose at this moment. But let's just say it wasn't bad.
Read his book.
And obviously he doesn't have that anymore, right? He let it go. Yeah.
Well,
there you go. Right. So it's interesting. It's interesting to hear all these stories and stuff like that. And thank God he didn't sign any paperwork. Yeah, he made out nicely. All right. So I don't know. I always find that stuff interesting. I always like listening to CEOs or people that used to work for companies, because you notice a lot of developers don't ever speak. And I get why they don't speak, because if they speak, they can get blacklisted, or they know a lot of different people and they won't get hired again. So they don't speak until they're out of the business. Saint says, is a non-compete clause any different? Non-compete clause is that you can't compete, meaning, let's say I was working on Arc Raiders, and then I leave Arc Raiders to go work at Marathon. That's a no-compete clause. Like, once you get fired, you're not allowed to work for a company if they're doing the exact same type of stuff as you. So you couldn't work for another company that was doing so you have to go like on a sabbatical basically for like 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever the contract that you sign for no compete clause is, that you can't do stuff like that. Because obviously if you're working, and I'm using video games, but if you work for another thing, let's say you work for medical supplies. Okay. If I leave a medical supply company knowing all the ins and outs of a medical supply company or any company, and then go start my own medical supply company, that's a compete clause, right? So if I sell my business to somebody, I can't open up another business like that in that area or in the same competition as them, right? That's what a no-compete clause is. Sarge says $3.6 billion divided by the number of existing shares. I'll have to take a peek. If you have your money in order, you don't have to. You don't have to take the deal, right? I think he took the deal. I'm pretty sure he took the deal. All right. The last story I want to talk about. Okay. I didn't even know we were going to go over those videos and stuff. The last thing I want to talk about is Star Wars, right? Star Wars is, we talked about this last week about Mando and what it was going to do at the box office. And we'll look at that in a second. Okay. Scott Mellison here is a person that used to love protecting Star Wars. Okay. Now, I haven't read his article here. Maybe he still does. Okay. But the title here for Scott's article is Star Wars Collapse Box Office Endures. An 81% Friday drop for The Mandalorian Grogu. Okay. Barely mattered amidst the overall weekend total that's nearly 10% higher than the previous Friday/Sunday Memorial Day weekend. Okay. It says, who needs Star Wars? Not movie theaters. At this weekend, $192 million domestically, okay, will rank second, adjusted for inflation, amongst all post-Memorial Day weekends. It'll be behind a 2003's during a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse earned $121 million out of $205 million cumulative, okay? It says the closest will be $186 million on Monday through Friday total for the frame in 2017, and 2023 Friday, Monday through Memorial Day weekend, $203 million. Okay, was neck and neck with the $205 million post-holiday frame. However, this post-holiday total of 99% above last weekend's $176 million Friday through Sunday total. Now it says Memorial Day weekend spread since Wonder Woman $103 million and Captain Underpants $24 million, powered by 30% above the previous frame $142 million of Pirates of the Caribbean 5 LED. Oh wait, can we not? Oh, I can't. Can I not see his thing? Oh. All right. Well, let's just go to Star Wars and look at what the 80% drop-off did. Okay. Now, I did say it was going to hit an 80% drop-off last week. I said, if it does this, and here I'll bring up the other, we'll go to box office, and we'll bring up the other movie that it's being compared to, because Solo Star Wars film. So not only has Star Wars lost, it's third in the box office right now. If I go to Box Office Mojo and we look at through the week, Backrooms and Obsession both overtook. I don't know if you guys can see that. Both overtook Star Wars. This is how you know the franchise is broke. Okay, when two independent YouTubers made films, one is Backrooms and one is Obsession. Again, let me remind you again. YouTubers, okay, not to diminish anything, right? But they're not super studios here. They're low budget, horror type films, right? One made $81 million, one made $26 million, and Star Wars made $25 million. This is Disney Star Wars for you, okay? Now, Solo, if we go back to Solo, made $392 million, $213 million domestically, $179 million internationally. You look at the domestic box office for what they made through the first 2 weekends. Okay, now obviously there's an 83.6% from 35 million to 8 million, which is a 77% drop off. And then we have Star Wars. Okay, from 33 million to 6.5 million, which obviously Solo had 8 million. Okay. It dropped to 80%. 80% drop off for Star Wars, Mando and Grogu from week 1 to week 2. And through the weekend, it didn't do much better. Okay. First weekend, it made 33, 25, and 22 million. This weekend, it made 6.5, 10.3, and 8.2. And that'll probably get changed a little bit because it'll adjust. They do a roundabout, and then around Monday or Tuesday, they adjust it for what it is. Now, it's at 137 and 109 million and 246 million. I believe I said it'll make about 160 million, which is 30 million less than this. And now they're projecting that this movie doesn't even break 300 million. That's crazy. Now, on top of that, this movie is doing so bad, okay, and Disney doesn't know what to do with it, is that when it comes out, they're going to break up the movie. And the movie, supposedly, this is what they said, they're going to break up the movie and put it on Disney Plus. So it's just going to be episodes of the movie instead of the movie. Okay. And then once it's done, you won't be able to watch the movie again. They're doing what they did to Willow, which is crazy, right? Let me see if I can find that article. Let's see here. This is this it? No, audience being trained to watch this. No, we had something. I can't find it now. Maybe it's in the Discord. That's box office. 1 second, chat. Trying to find it. I think Dustin posted it in general. And then you have Master of the Universe coming out this week. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is official or not official. This is coming from Deadline. Okay. So Deadline, from this tweet, okay, this is coming from Wong Updates. Now it says, The Mandalorian and Grogu will soon be lost media. Lucasfilm is releasing the film on Disney Plus as a 4-part miniseries with no plans for physical release. Right? That's how you know this movie's done. Right? The movie's done because they're taking a movie. They're taking a TV show, season 4, turned it into a movie. And now they're taking the movie and breaking it down into a 4-part miniseries on Disney Plus. And then there's no physical release. Like, what are we talking about? Water Bear says 75. I said 75, but 80. Damn, it's crazy how low it went. Jesse Max says Star Wars has already lost two of the independent horror movies. Yeah, 2 independent YouTube created movies. Crowded says the game industry is just like Hollywood. It's all bullshit politics. Jesse Max says 30. You know, the girl from The Obsession, she used to do Twitch streamer. She was also playing COD games before she also taked off with her career being an actress. Yeah, I mean, YouTube is, look, I've said this in the very past to other content creators. YouTube is mini Hollywood. It is, right? I'm not surprised. I mean, personalities are found on YouTube all the time. It's not the first actor or actress that came and did stuff. This is what they want. They couldn't get jobs in the film industry, so they started streaming to build up their stuff, and then now they can get jobs. Star Wars is getting smoked by 2 independent horror movies. Let that sink in. Yeah, Star Wars, the biggest franchise at one point in the history of movies, Star Wars, right? Top 5 all-time franchises, is losing to independent horror films. That's crazy, man. Absolutely, it's batshit crazy. Really, it really is. To think about that, the biggest franchise on planet Earth is losing to independent films. Let's see what else is going on in Twitter. Roic says it's just like Felicia Day. She was awesome in Supernatural. Yeah, and she's actually coming back out with the Guild. They're redoing the Guild now. It's insane. 20-year-old director backrooms. Look, what I love about what's happening right now in Hollywood is the same thing that happened back in the day when like Blair Witch got found, or what's it called? Kevin Smith doing Clerks. Nothing's changed, right? Nothing has changed in Hollywood's format of how they find people and use stuff. Hollywood is just changed forms. YouTube is Hollywood. Same drama, same shit that's happening right now. Your media is media, right? Media is media. So if you were back in the old days, you got your commercial break, or you got on a television show or whatever, okay? You would blow up because of the media. Now, because of YouTube, you could have one viral video and go absolutely astronomical, known about anything, right? Remember, like, I don't know the guy's name. Remember the orange that used to talk? He got a movie, right? Remember Fred? He got a movie. They were bad, okay? Nothing has changed, right? Nothing has changed. So many content creators that were just YouTubers are put into movies, right? Look at what's happening right now. How many content creators do you see are being put into video games? It's all the same. Nothing's changed in that form. And now, because you have Iron Lung, okay, now that you have Obsession, and now that you have Backrooms, right? These are 3 content creators that independent films, all successful. So what do you think is going to happen now, chat? What do you think is going to happen now that everyone sees 3 data points? You got Iron Lung, you got Obsession, and now you got Backroom. What do you think is going to happen? I see the same thing for. I'll let you guys chat about it for a second, right? I see the exact same thing happening with what it says for like GMO-free food or organic food. You're going to have companies that come in that try to be independent. They're going to find people. They're going to start scouring the internet for things. Got more horror slop, right? They're going to start scouring the internet for things to try to find the next Iron Lung, the next Obsession, the next Backroom. And then there'll be a time, let's say Markiplier. I'm not doing anything against Markiplier here. Just this is the way Hollywood works. Or I should say media works. Right now, Markiplier is beloved. Why? Because he's on YouTube the entire time. His fans, creators. Well, then what happens is, and again, this is on Markiplier if he goes down this road, okay? He's going to be offered anything that he wants to do, okay? Now, if that's his goal in life is to direct another actual blockbuster film, or maybe he just wants to do what he's doing. Maybe he's the next Tarantino, whatever, right? Because he made so much money doing this, now he's getting phone calls, he's getting a whole bunch of stuff. Hey, we want you to do this. Hey, we want you to direct this. As a person now, again, I don't know about Markiplier. Maybe his dream was to direct the next big thing, right? Maybe the next Friday the 13th, whatever it is, right? That's who people start to go towards. Now, what happens is the people that are fans of him, right? Let's say he takes that deal, right? Again, this is all hypothetical, right? Let's take he takes the deal, not the next film, but he gets signed for a 3-picture deal with Searchlight or whatever it is. He sells his soul because that's what he wanted to do. He's trying to improve his career or whatever. Gets this opportunity because of what happened to Iron Lung, and then all of a sudden now he gets to choose whatever he wants to make. Well, now he's sold out, right? Now the people that were fans of him could be like, "Oh, I like Markiplier when he was independent, right? When he was a nobody, per se." Okay? And that's the way it goes, right? That's exactly the same path that everyone else took. This is the exact same path that happened when Francis Ford Coppola and Spielberg and Scorsese and George Lucas, they came out of school. They were the hot ticket items. They got handed the keys to the kingdom. and they change the entire landscape of the film industry, right? That's sort of what's happening now with the YouTube space. Crowd says, and imagine production companies will slash budgets. Look, I've worked on tons and tons of films like these are in theaters. Okay. This is like a $10 million budget, $5 million budget, $3 million budget, right? Like, I've worked on tons of these. Most of them don't get to see the light of day. Others are lucky. Dolphin says Asmongold should have a movie about his house. Jesse Mack says most YouTubers is going to be more independent movies going forward than seeing Hollywood actors. But do you understand? They're the same. They're the same. The only difference between Hollywood movies or Hollywood actors and YouTubers is that the name. Oh, this is a YouTuber. This is a Hollywood actor. They're in a movie. They're the same. They're actors. Crowd says also some of these actors demand insane salaries. They'll all get there. They'll all get there. Look at Young Yeah, right? Young Yeah was just doing his YouTube channel. Then he became a voice actor. How many more opportunities do you think he got? Because he took the world. I'm not taking anything away from these people in any way, shape, or form, right? He had his YouTube career, and then he became a voice actor. Now he's back on YouTube. Probably can't find work and stuff, right? Or maybe he's doing both, right? Until he gets his break. They're all the same, man. Horror is one of the few genres that can still put out something out yearly. That's because their fan base is still there. There's always a dedicated horror fan base. I think the DC Clayface movie that's coming out might actually do really well because it's horror. It doesn't cost as much to make. You get a lot of turnaround with the horror flicks, and you can get they're super. I used to work on so many horror films that never saw the light of day. Easy to do, quick turnaround. Aku says 30. I've done alphas and betas for tons of games that never came out. Sarge says horror movies cost less, so it gives them the possibility of wider margins. 100%. Roadkill says, yeah, I'm 100% horror. That's like all the movies I watch. I watch all the B-rated movies. See, what I like about like that genre is that these people want to make movies, right? And they want to make money, but they don't have to make all the money. They're just trying to make something, right? Everyone thinks they have to make like $1 billion. But if I spend $50,000 or $100,000 or even $1 million on a horror film, and I make $2 million or $3 million off of that, that's huge, right? That's huge. And you can just springboard horror films and independent developer or independent movie, independent studios are like indies for video games, right? They just make the game that they love to make the movie you want to make the book you want to make, build it up, sell it, and not make all the money in the world. Start to build up your fan base. Start to build up your community. Travis says, horror films are easy. Same reason people like roller coasters. You want to feel scared, yet safe. Yeah. Yeah, I thought they looked pretty good. I'm not going to have a body horror for Clayface. Might be good. Crowd says, what kind of money do you think MOTU will make? I think it's reviewing well. What is what's MOTU? I don't know. Oh, Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe. I don't know, man. I'm off by it. The trailer didn't sell me personally on Master of the Universe Crowded. I get like a Flash Gordon Guardians of the Galaxy type of vibe. I gotta wait and see. That to me is if it reviews well with the normies, then I'll go see it. But if it doesn't review well, I'll wait. I'll wait for it to come on TV. Horror movies have to be creative. Once you gain the fan base, you can make a killing. Remember Saw? Final Destination? Yeah, Blair Witch. There's a ton of films out there. I might go see it for shits and giggles, bro. What do you think of Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage? I haven't seen it. It's getting good. It's getting good talk though. I haven't seen it. I don't even know what is it on. Is it on Disney Plus? Is it on Amazon? What is it on? Roadkill says one of the actors was really making a comeback is Brandon Fraser. He's making some good movies. You know why he wasn't making movies? Because he was blacklisted. He was blacklisted. Then he made an independent film. And then he got noticed again. And now everyone's giving him jobs again. It's amazing. Mr. G says, self-aware Flash Gordon, sign me up. The Darkness and others, like Brain May musical. Yes, please. Look, the trailer didn't do anything for me, but I'm not hating on Masters of the Universe yet. Like if it's a cheesy like Flash Gordon type of stuff, maybe I'll like it. Yeah, I saw that, Jesse. It's on Prime? All right, thank you. Everyone's saying Jared Leto is shockingly good. I don't believe it. I hate Jared Leto. I hate Jared Leto. You know, 30, Jared Leto is going to do what Skeletor never could, kill off He-Man. Oh. We'll see what happens with He-Man. It comes out this weekend, right? Maybe I'll watch it while I'm on vacation. Maybe I'll go to the theater when I'm on vacation. All right, the last thing I want to make sure you got to go watch. Let me bring this up. Okay, so you guys can go watch it right now or watch it afterwards. You have to watch. If you want to watch, there's a lot to this. Okay, you can watch it through. Where is it? Do I have? I don't think it's. So Penguinzilla, right? Morse Critical is talking about it. Asmongold watched one of the things. I saw just a plain version of the guy's video. Okay, it's insane. There's so many things to go about. Lego. Okay. I'm making people aware of this just so it gets around, right? But you watch what you want to watch. So if you go to Reckless Ben, okay, and watch this whole story, it's fucking batshit crazy. It's an entire drama you have to watch. Okay, it's like watching a motion picture. You have to track down the thief who stole $200,000 of Legos. Okay, it's a clickbait title. Okay, because it's not about 200,000. It's about just what's happening. Okay, you have to watch this. Then you have to watch the incremental of what the breakdown is of the response of the minifig stuff, plus the minifigs leaked email, plus the part 2 of I got arrested because of Legos. And then he just came out with another thing. My response to the police. This whole thing is some of the best television you'll see. You can't write shit like this. It's like it's a movie. Okay? You've got corporations involved. You've got corrupted cops involved. You've got legality involved. It is so fucking good. You have liars. People just straight up lying. There's so much proof and evidence. If you don't want to watch the raw footage, go watch Penguizilla or go watch Asmongold reacting to it, because let me tell you, it's some of the most entertaining stuff you're going to see. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Mr. G says, character with a mask. Yes, gets a famous name to destroy the fan. Goodwill. Derp. Crowd says, I'm not a huge fan of his either, but the word is that he can pull it off. All right. Look, I'll watch it. I'll watch it and see if it works. Titan says, I saw this earlier about the Lego fiasco. It's a trilogy. It's crazy, Titan. It's still ongoing. It's absolutely crazy. Clip says, dude, I'm waiting until he watches part 2. I'm excited, like what the best TV I've ever seen in my life. Okay, let me tell you, I've watched just the raw footage, like the raw of from Ben, but then I watched it with Asmongold reacting to it, and I was like, this is even better. This is even better. Roadkill says the Reckless Ben Lego a thing. Yeah, Reckless Ben always puts together hell of a story with his videos. He's got me as a subscriber now. I want to go back and watch all the other stuff. This kid, I'm assuming he's a kid, young guy, okay, is amazing on how he documents everything. And when I was watching Asmongold, he said it best, right? He called him like autism, right? He's like, this man is playing where in one moment he's got like 2 IQ and then he goes up to like 2,000 IQ. Okay. The amount of thought process this kid has to cover his ass to do something is amazing. Like the twists and turns that are happening, you're like, there's no way this, holy shit, it happened. Right? And they're like, all right, this is it. Nope. More and more keep coming out about it. It's absolutely crazy. That's where I'll leave you guys for today. If you guys like it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We're live Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, to play some video games over on 30 and Still Gaming. I don't know what I'm playing yet. We'll be playing something. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the Daily Grind. We'll be back Wednesday morning for the Daily Grind. There is no shows, no podcast, no shows or anything on Thursday. Thursday I'm off. I'm traveling. And then I'll be back next Tuesday. So you have tomorrow morning and you have Wednesday morning for the Daily Grind. And you have tomorrow night, and then Wednesday night, no shooting the shit with Charge. I got to go to sleep early. I am going to be on the podcast with Fake Wizard. And then I'm done for the week. So you guys, appreciate it very much. Hit that like button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Promise wrapped in neon light. Everyone online said it changed their life. Started up the game and watched it play. Guess I'm just along for the ride again today. Walk real slow through another empty hall. character keeps talking while I do nothing at all. Hold the stick forward, that's the big design. 10 out of 10 every single time. And I miss those nights, failing 20 times. Now everything survives itself without me trying. Gaming lost its soul somewhere, buried underneath perfect scores and scripted air. I press one button, the game does the rest. Still they call it one of the best. Another 10 out of 10. Guess gameplay's dead again. Used to learn patterns, used to earn the win. Now the checkpoints save me every 10 seconds in. Can't even fail if I wanted to try. Just stare at the screen while the hours die. Journal